Hey guys, I'm Emily. I'm an artist based in Southwest Michigan, and I have a sketchbook that I have finished and I want to give you guys a tour. If you love art and photography and you want to see more, then be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and sign up for my Patreon in the link below. All right, let's dive in. Okay, so here's my sketchbook, and I just want to show you just the cover. I've got some fun stickers on there. I like this sketchbook because it has a pencil holder. I did feel like this sketchbook itself, the pages were a little bit too thin for some of the media that I wanted to work with. So I don't know if I will get this one again. It wasn't a bad one, and if you don't want to work with a lot of wet media, I think it's all right. For the price, it was definitely good. Let's open it up. To begin with, all of my sketchbooks, I always put some information on the inside of the front cover. For if I were to lose it somewhere, I have my name, email address, phone number, and mailing address so that I can direct someone to mail it back to me if I lose it. This first page is just a pencil sketch of my son and my dog, and I just thought it was super cute. So the next page, I have just a plain air sketch of my son at baseball practice and some flowers from the neighbor's house, and then I also had some tips from a YouTube video that I watched by Danny Gregory. This is all ballpoint pen. This is, I think, marker, and then this is colored pencil. Some more notes from the Danny Gregory video. This is a sketch I did with ballpoint pen. That's just a couple of interesting things that happened on my day that day. There's a really bad self-portrait, but whatever. This I did with a fountain pen. I didn't know this, but apparently you're not supposed to fill fountain pens with India ink. So that's why it's so messed up. But it's okay because it's a sketchbook and it's just here for practice. And I learned something. Don't put India ink in a fountain pen. This thing I drew from Facebook. I thought it was cute. I added a little funny stuff to it. Here's one of my favorite cups. Here is a sketch I did with a friend at a brewery. There was a band playing there, so I bought one of their stickers and put it in my sketchbook. This is fountain pen and actual fountain pen ink, and then watercolor. This next one is some notes I took at church, but if you have any kind of class, you could take notes like this and it would help you pay attention and study. That's one thing that I noticed, is that taking notes during church helped me to pay attention better and retain the information. Here is a plain air sketch I did with my son. I was watching him and his friend in the pool. I used ballpoint pen and graphite watercolor paints. Here is some sketches I did plain air. I'm not super happy with these, but whatever. I was learning how to use ballpoint pen. Here's a fun layout. It's a day in my life. It's ballpoint pen. I just drew the 6 different boxes, filled them in, just picked different things from a typical day and drew them. Here's a sketch I did in ballpoint pen when I was at my son's baseball game. Here's a funny story. My son came to me one morning and woke me up with a live worm. So I thought it would be fun to sketch that. And that's what he did that day, and this is ballpoint pen. This one is actually one of my favorites. Here's another favorite page of mine. This one I did in ballpoint pen. I was at the beach with my son, and I drew us on the beach in all colored ballpoint pen. Here's some interesting news that I had seen that week. Anything that caught my eye that I thought was interesting, wrote down like a headline or just something that was notable about that news. This is all colored ballpoint pen. I was trying to learn ballpoint pen, so I have a lot of ballpoint pen in this section. Here's another ballpoint pen, notes of church, and then a little doodle from my son right there when I was trying to keep him quiet. Here is another ballpoint pen drawing. I drew some peach tea that we'd had there and I drew a picture of my dad and my son from a photo that I took a few years ago. Here's another ballpoint pen. I'm actually very proud of this drawing right here. This is my husband sleeping. I did take a picture, go back to sleep, and then get back up and sketch. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. I mean, it actually looks like him. This is blue ballpoint pen, just different things from that day. This is a brush pen, and then I actually made some of my own watercolors out of flowers and different things, leaves and stuff. I wanted to record the process. You can see on this page that there's some bleed through from the next page, and that was one of the reasons why I don't think I will buy this particular sketchbook again. Here is some watercolors that I did plein air at this poppy field. This was just really fun. A friend and I went, and we were only there for maybe an hour. We just sat on a sheet and sketched and painted and just enjoyed the beauty. Here are some ballpoint pen sketches. This is just things in my living room that I drew, and this is a dinosaur puzzle that my grandfather made for me when I was a little kid. This was 3 different angles, and it's a good way to learn perspective and just shading and things like that. Here is just some stuff that I saw that day. This is all ballpoint pen. Here's my dog in ballpoint pen. This is a Tombow brush pen. And then I wrote ballpoint pen here. We went to the beach, me and my son, and I actually drew everything here plein air. Here are some more ballpoint pen sketches just from my day. And then this is something cool that I saw on Facebook about the Snickers bar. So here is a bonus 7-day sketch challenge for you guys. I will put a download link in the description and the comments for you to download, and I challenge you to do a 7-day sketch challenge. Just draw on whatever you have available. It can be a notebook, it can be scraps of junk mail, it can be anything. Here is a really crappy self-portrait that I did, and it's a ballpoint pen, and so I actually redid it on this page, which turned out better. Still not perfect, but we're all learning. So just so you know, there's bad sketches in my book too. Here's a coffee mug sketch I did in ballpoint pen. This one's a fun antique phone sketch. I really like how that one turned out. Here is some more church notes. So if you have, like I said again, if you have classes and stuff that you're taking, take creative notes and it'll kind of help you pay attention better and remember. Here's just a spread of some different things. Ballpoint pen. I wasn't feeling very inspired these days, so I just kind of threw something on the page. Here is another ballpoint pen sketch. This was just us enjoying the fireworks. Here are some people I drew at the pool. Plein air people. This is a Copic multi-liner in lavender. Here is my horrible experiment with oil pastel before I watched some YouTube videos on how to use them. There are some other oil pastels further along. You'll see me improve, but like this is a really crappy drawing, and that's okay because this is a sketchbook and sketchbooks are for experimenting and learning. Here are some more ballpoint pen drawings. These 2 were drawn plein air in person. Here is a sketch of a girl. I took her senior pictures and it's just really fun sketch. Here's more church notes in ballpoint pen. Here is another oil pastel sketch I did, but this one turned out so much better. So I'd watched a few YouTube videos, experimented with a few things, and I'm very happy with this result, and I think I will continue to do things with these oil pastels. I did spray it with a varnish so that it didn't get like weird in the sketchbook. Here is a ballpoint pen of a trip that I went on with the youth group, and I did buy a couple stickers and stick them in there. That's one thing I love that my sketchbook can do, is it can also double as like a junk journal light. So I have a place to put all the cute little stickers and things I get places that I don't know what to do with. Here is a fine liner Pigma Micron pen, and I was just practicing some lines. Here are more church notes. This one I decided to do fine liner and markers. Here is a ballpoint pen and marker from a place that I went. I got a sticker from them. Here's oil pastel with the sticker from the watermelon that we ate that day. I put the sticker down and then I drew the watermelon around it. This one's one of my favorites. This is a very simple fine liner drawing. This is my dog sitting in the laundry basket. She was really cute and I really tried some new techniques that I've never tried before. I'm super happy with it. Here is just something I did when I was deep in a pain flare. I have a TMJ issue and it causes a lot of pain during flares, and I just wanted something to express how I was feeling. Drew this with fine liner. I have markers. I cut things out of magazines and newspapers that just kind of were words that resonated with how I was feeling that day. Here is a recap of an anniversary date that my husband and I went on with some friends. I drew some of the things that we had eaten, wrote down a few things from the menu. Here's just a random doodles from my day, and I did this one in fine liner and some brush pens. And that's a really weird drawing of my cat, but it does kind of have some of the essence of her, so there you go. This is just a doodle I did. I didn't even date it, doodled it, and just wanted something to keep my hands busy while we were watching a show. This one I did with my fountain pen. I drew a few of my favorite things and then added my dog's paw in there just for fun, and I thought it turned out really cool. Here is another church notes. You can see they're getting more elaborate, more fun, and more colorful. Here is a sketch that I did of myself, and this I made with a rainbow pencil. It has rainbow lead and I got it on Amazon, and I will post that link in the description and in the pinned comment for you to go and pick up. That's the only thing I used on this page, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I did an outfit of the day, which I wrote down here. This took me like 3 days to complete. I don't know what was going on, but I was just struggling, I guess. Here is a unicorn that my husband won for me. The background has metallic paint pen. I drew this unicorn, like I set it up on the couch and then I drew it from life. One of the best ways to get drawing experiences from life. Here is a little bit of nature journaling that I did. My husband and I and my son went on a little hike, and I took pictures while on the hike of different things that I found interesting. Came home and sketched them with fine liner. I used watercolor to color it. This is some lettering ideas, just some practice with me doing lettering, doodle alphabet. This is a good way to learn new lettering styles and get ideas for when you're uninspired. Here's another church notes. This is a recap of Taco Tuesday and how I had to cut bell peppers up. Just brush pen and watercolor, and just really fun. Hooray for Taco Tuesday. Here is a watercolor that I did. Here is some pencil and watercolor. I did this at the beach with my son. Here's some more church notes. Here is a little recap of stationery store day. I took this sticker and this was part of the bag from the journal that I bought. Here is a fun little doodly page brush pen, just some things that we had done that day. Here is some beach combing rocks that I found. Here's a pencil sketch I did when I was waiting for my tires to get fixed. And then here is my son celebrating the removal of his training wheels on his bike. Here is another church notes. Tried some different colors and fine liners for this. Really fun. Here are some more church notes, and I think this is all church notes. I went on a trip and decided to start my new sketchbook, so I have a few pages left in here. I'm going to use the rest of this sketchbook to do all my church notes because I didn't want half the trip in this sketchbook and then half the trip in my new sketchbook, so I just decided to go ahead and start a new one. In the back of my sketchbook, I do write down some reference things. Here's some art exercise ideas for getting better at drawing or branching out. Here's some swatches I did of different colored ballpoint pens. friends, here are some facts to remember. I think this was from a Danny Gregory video. I tested some acrylic markers. Here's some more ballpoint pen swatches. I do have a kind of a reference on the back here of different layouts. Sometimes I use these layouts, sometimes I don't, but I think it's really fun to have that. And then here are art series ideas. Here is a sketching exercise. First you draw circles, and then you draw circles inside of circles, and then you draw like continuous swirl. Here are some ideas when I'm uninspired, and I keep that in my sketchbook to refer to when I'm not feeling very creative. And then this sketchbook has a pocket. I did kind of tape it shut. And there's sand in my sketchbook. You can tell I've taken it everywhere. I did kind of tape it shut because I wanted the stickers to stay on and some of them were peeling off. That is my sketchbook. If you'd like to see more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe. And again, we'll see you on the next video. Stay creative.